Rachel Morrison had been a flight attendant for 22 years. She thought she'd seen everything: drunk passengers, medical emergencies, turbulence that made grown men cry. But she'd never seen hatred refuse to save a life. Flight 237 from Chicago to Miami was routine. Business class half full, economy packed, a typical Tuesday afternoon at 32,000 feet. Rachel was serving drinks in first class when she heard the sound. A gasp, a thud, the unmistakable noise of a body hitting the floor. Seat 3A. An elderly man, maybe 75, white, well-dressed, had collapsed into the aisle. His face was gray, his lips were blue. Rachel dropped her tray and ran. Sir, can you hear me?" She knelt beside him, checking for a pulse. Weak, irregular. His chest wasn't moving properly. This was bad. Rachel stood and called out to the cabin, her voice loud and clear despite the panic rising in her throat. "Is there a doctor on board? We have a medical emergency." Silence. Passengers stared. Some pulled out phones to record. Nobody moved. Then a hand went up. Row 7. A black man in his early 50s stood. He was tall, composed, wearing a simple gray sweater and jeans. "I'm a doctor," he said, moving toward the aisle. "Cardiology. I can help." Relief flooded through Rachel. "Thank you. Please. No." The voice came from beside the fallen man. His wife. She was in her 70s, pale, trembling, but her eyes were hard. "Get away from him," she screamed at the doctor. Dr. Samuel Green stopped. He looked at the woman calmly. "Ma'am, your husband is having a heart attack. I don't want you touching him." The woman's voice was shrill. "Someone else, a real doctor." The cabin fell silent. Every passenger heard. Every passenger understood what she meant. Rachel felt something cold settle in her stomach. She looked at Dr. Green. His face was neutral, but she saw it. The tiredness, the resignation, like he'd heard this before, many times before. "Ma'am," Rachel said carefully, "this gentleman is a doctor. He's trying to help your—" "I don't care." The woman was crying now, but her voice stayed hard. "I don't want him near my husband. Wait for someone else." Rachel looked around the cabin. "Is there anyone else? Another doctor?" Silence. 42 passengers. Nobody spoke. The man on the floor gasped. His body twitched. He was dying. Rachel made a decision. She knelt in front of the woman and took her hands. The woman tried to pull away, but Rachel held tight. "Please," Rachel said, her voice breaking. "Please, your husband is dying. This man can save him. I'm begging you, please let him help." The woman's face crumpled. Tears streamed down her cheeks. Her husband made another terrible sound. 5 seconds passed. 10. "Fine," the woman whispered. "Fine. But if he dies—" "He'll die if I don't help," Dr. Green said quietly. He was already kneeling, already checking the pulse, already in doctor mode. "Rachel," he'd read her name tag, "I need the medical kit. Aspirin. Defibrillator if you have one. And tell the captain to prepare for an emergency landing." Rachel ran. For the next 12 minutes, Dr. Samuel Green worked to save a man whose wife didn't want him touched. He performed CPR with perfect rhythm. He administered aspirin. He used the defibrillator when the heart stopped completely. He spoke calmly to the man, even though the man was unconscious. "Stay with me, sir. You're going to make it. Stay with me." The wife watched from a seat nearby, where another passenger had moved her. She didn't speak. She didn't thank him. She just watched. The plane made an emergency landing in Atlanta. Paramedics rushed on board. They took over from Dr. Green, who stepped back, breathing hard. "You saved his life," one paramedic said, looking at the monitors. "Another 5 minutes and he'd be gone." Dr. Green nodded, said nothing, watched as they carried the man out on a stretcher. The wife followed. She didn't look at Dr. Green, didn't say thank you, just left. The other passengers began to clap, slowly at first, then louder. Someone said, "That was incredible." Dr. Green didn't acknowledge it. He walked back to his seat, sat down, closed his eyes. Rachel watched him. Something in her chest ached. After the passengers deplaned and the new passengers boarded for the continuing flight to Miami, Rachel found Dr. Green still in his seat. "Excuse me?" she said softly. He opened his eyes. They were brown, tired, kind. "Yes?" "I wanted to say thank you. And I'm sorry." He smiled faintly. "You don't need to apologize for her. I'm apologizing for all of us, for not speaking up, for letting her say those things. You spoke up," he pointed out. "You got on your knees and begged for his life. That's more than most people would do." Rachel shook her head. "It wasn't enough." "It was everything," Dr. Green said simply. "You're the reason I helped. Not him. Not her. You." Rachel didn't know what to say to that. Dr. Green extended his hand. "Samuel Green. Friends call me Sam." She shook it. His grip was warm, steady. "Rachel Morrison." "Nice to meet you, Rachel Morrison, even under these circumstances." "Are you okay?" she asked. Sam looked at her for a long moment. "Do you want the polite answer or the honest one?" "Honest." "I'm exhausted. I've been a cardiologist for 26 years. I've saved hundreds of lives, published research that's used in hospitals worldwide, won awards, taught medical students, and I'm still not a real doctor to some people." His voice wasn't bitter, just tired. "I'm 51 years old," Sam continued. "I thought it would get easier. It doesn't." Rachel sat down in the empty seat beside him. She wasn't supposed to. Flight attendants weren't supposed to sit with passengers during flight, but she didn't care. "I don't know what to say," she admitted. "You don't have to say anything. You already did something. That's rare." They sat in silence for a moment. "Where are you headed?" Rachel asked. "Miami. Medical conference. I'm giving a keynote speech on preventing heart attacks in underserved communities." Ironic, isn't it? "What is?" "I spend my career trying to save people who don't want me to save them." Rachel didn't have an answer for that. The plane landed in Miami. Sam stood, gathered his bag. "Thank you again," Rachel said, "for what you did. Thank you for seeing me as human. That's rarer than you think." He walked off the plane. Rachel watched him go and realized something. She didn't want him to leave. Rachel couldn't stop thinking about Dr. Samuel Green. 3 days after the flight, she was still replaying the scene in her mind. The way he'd stayed calm when that woman screamed at him. The way he'd saved a life for someone who didn't want his help. The exhaustion in his eyes when he'd said, "I'm still not a real doctor to some people." She'd looked him up online. It hadn't been hard. Dr. Samuel Green. chief of cardiology at Northwestern Memorial Hospital in Chicago, published over 100 research papers, developed a new protocol for treating acute myocardial infarction that was now standard practice in major hospitals. Taught at Northwestern University's medical school, there were photos, award ceremonies, medical conferences, a TED Talk about healthcare disparities that had 3 million views. The comments under the TED Talk made Rachel's stomach churn. Why is he talking about medicine? Diversity hire. I'd never let this guy treat me. Rachel closed her laptop. She felt sick. She also felt something else. Something she hadn't felt in the 7 years since her husband died. Interest. Attraction. The pull toward another person that she thought was dead inside her. It was ridiculous. She'd spoken to Dr. Green for maybe 10 minutes. She didn't know him, didn't know if he was married, single, interested in anyone, but she couldn't stop thinking about him. On Thursday, Rachel had a turnaround flight, Chicago to Miami and back the same day. As she went through security at O'Hare, she found herself scanning the terminal. Stupid! Chicago was a huge city. He wouldn't just be here. Except he was. Rachel saw him at gate B17, sitting alone, reading a medical journal. He wore a navy blue suit this time, white shirt, no tie. Professional, but approachable. Her heart did something stupid in her chest. She walked over before she could talk herself out of it. Dr. Green? He looked up. Recognition flashed across his face, followed by a genuine smile. Rachel, the flight attendant from Tuesday. You remember? Hard to forget someone who got on her knees to save a stranger's life. Rachel felt heat rise to her cheeks. I wanted to say hello. I saw you and she was fumbling. Awkward. Why was she so bad at this? I'm glad you did, Sam said. He gestured to the empty seat beside him. Are you working this flight? Yeah, Miami turnaround. Same flight as Tuesday? Same one. Then I'll see you on board. Maybe without the medical emergency this time. Rachel laughed. Let's hope. She walked away feeling lighter than she had in years. The flight was smooth. No emergencies, no drama. But Rachel found herself walking past row 7 more often than necessary. Each time, Sam looked up from his reading and smiled at her. Small smiles, brief, but they made her heart race. 45 years old and she felt like a teenager. When they landed in Miami, Rachel watched Sam leave the plane with the other passengers. He paused at the exit, turned back, and caught her eye. He mouthed 2 words. Thank you. For what? Rachel wondered. She hadn't done anything except her job. But she smiled back and nodded. The return flight to Chicago was scheduled to depart in 4 hours. Rachel had a meal break. She usually ate alone in the crew lounge, scrolling through her phone, trying not to think about how empty her life had become. Today her phone buzzed. Unknown number. She almost didn't answer, but something made her pick up. Hello? Rachel, it's Sam. Samuel Green. From the flight. Rachel's breath caught. How did you get my number? I asked at the gate if they could pass along a message. One of the agents was willing to bend the rules slightly. He paused. I hope that's okay. If it's not, I'll hang up and never bother you again. It's okay, Rachel said quickly. It's fine. I wanted to ask you something. Sam's voice was careful. Are you free for dinner tonight, after you land back in Chicago? Rachel's mind went blank. Dinner? I know it's forward. We barely know each other. But I haven't been able to stop thinking about what happened on Tuesday. About you. About how you stood up when no one else would. I'd like to get to know you better. If you're interested. Say yes, Rachel's brain screamed. Say yes, say yes, say yes. Yes, she said out loud. I'd like that. She could hear the smile in his voice. Good. There's a place called Mia Francesca in Lakeview. Italian. Quiet. Does 8 o'clock work? 8 is perfect. I'll make a reservation. See you tonight, Rachel. See you tonight. She hung up and stared at her phone. She had a date with a brilliant, kind, impossibly handsome doctor who was black, in a world that didn't always want to see them together. Rachel didn't tear. Mia Francesca was cozy. Dim lighting, checker tablecloths, the smell of garlic and fresh bread. Sam was already there when Rachel arrived. He stood when he saw her, and Rachel noticed other diners glancing their way. Some looks were curious, some were disapproving. Sam noticed too. He always noticed. We can go somewhere else, he said quietly, if this is uncomfortable. I'm not uncomfortable, Rachel said firmly. Are you? Sam smiled. Not anymore. They sat, ordered wine, but conversation flowed easily. Sam told her about his childhood in Atlanta, growing up in the 70s and 80s, being one of 3 black students in his medical school class. I worked twice as hard as everyone else. Had to. One mistake, and they'd say, see? He doesn't belong here. So I didn't make mistakes. That's not fair. No, but it was reality. He told me about his ex-wife. They divorced 5 years ago. No kids. She'd been white, too. The marriage had fallen apart under the weight of constant stares, comments, pressure from her family. She said she loved me, but she couldn't handle being looked at everywhere we went, being judged, having her parents ask when she was going to come to her senses. I'm sorry. Don't be. She wasn't strong enough. I don't blame her. It's exhausting being in a relationship with me. That's not true. Isn't it? Sam looked at her directly. Rachel, we've been sitting here for 40 minutes. At least 6 people have stared at us. 2 older women whispered when they walked past. The waiter gave me a look when I ordered for you. I didn't notice. But now that Sam mentioned it, I realized he was right. I don't care. You will, Sam said gently. Eventually, it wears you down. You think I'm not strong enough either? I think you're brave, but bravery and endurance are different things. Rachel leaned forward. Let me decide what I can endure. Sam studied her. Then he smiled. Okay. They talked for 3 hours. About everything. Rachel told him about her late husband, how he died suddenly of an aneurysm 7 years ago, how she thought she'd never feel anything for anyone again. Until Tuesday, when she saw you save that man's life while his wife treated you like you were nothing. And I realized you were everything. Sam reached across the table and took her hand. His skin was warm against hers. I haven't felt this way in a long time. Maybe ever. Me neither. This won't be easy. I know. People will say things. Let them. Sam squeezed her hand. Then let's try. The first month was perfect. Sam and Rachel saw each other whenever their schedules allowed. Coffee before her flights, dinner after his shifts at the hospital, long phone calls late at night when they were both too tired to do anything but talk. Rachel felt alive again, happy, like the world had color again after years of gray. Sam was thoughtful, funny, brilliant, but never condescending. He listened when she talked, asked about her day, remembered small details. He also warned her. It's going to get harder, he said one evening as they walked through Lincoln Park. Right now we're in our bubble, but eventually the bubble pops. I can handle it, Rachel insisted. I know you think you can. The bubble popped 2 weeks later. Rachel posted a photo on Instagram. Just a simple picture of their hands intertwined, coffee cups on the table between them. The caption, happy. Within an hour, the comments started. Is that a black guy? Girl, what are you doing? Race traitor. Your poor husband is rolling in his grave. This is disgusting. Rachel deleted the post, but the comments had already been screenshot and shared. Someone found out where she worked, sent emails to the airline. Her supervisor called her in. Rachel, we've received some complaints. About what? About your relationship with a passenger? Dr. Green wasn't a passenger. I'm dating him, but he was a passenger on my flight once. We met there. That's all. Some people are saying it's unprofessional. Some people are saying it's interracial, Rachel corrected. That's what this is really about. Her supervisor looked uncomfortable. I'm not making a judgment. I'm just saying, be careful. The airline has an image to maintain. Rachel left the office shaking with anger. That night, she told Sam what happened. He wasn't surprised. Do you want to stop? He asked quietly. I'll understand. No, Rachel said. Do you? Never. But the harassment continued. Someone left a note on Rachel's car. Stick to your own kind. Sam's tires were slashed in the hospital parking lot. An anonymous email was sent to the hospital board claiming Sam was having inappropriate relationships with staff. It wasn't true, but he had to sit through an investigation anyway. Rachel's sister stopped talking to her. "I can't believe you're doing this," her sister said. "Mom and Dad would be horrified." "Mom and Dad are dead," Rachel said coldly, "and they don't get a vote." But it hurt. All of it hurt. One night, 3 months into their relationship, Rachel broke down crying in Sam's arms. "I don't understand," she sobbed. "Why do people care so much? We're not hurting anyone. We're just trying to be happy." Sam held her, said nothing. What could he say? This was his life. This had always been his life. "Do you regret this?" he asked finally. Rachel pulled back and looked at him. "Regret you? Never. I regret them. I regret that the world is like this." "The world won't change." "Then we'll change our world." 6 months after they started dating, Sam had to fly to Los Angeles for a medical conference. Rachel wasn't scheduled on any LA flights that week, but she traded shifts with another attendant, made sure she was working Sam's flight. She wanted to surprise him. Flight 447, Chicago to LAX, Tuesday morning. Sam boarded business class, seat 7D. He was reading a journal, focused, didn't notice Rachel until she appeared beside him with a drink cart. "Coffee, Dr. Green?" His head snapped up. His face broke into the biggest smile she'd ever seen. "Rachel, what are you doing here?" "Working. What are you doing?" "Being incredibly happy to see you." She poured his coffee. Their fingers brushed. The connection was electric, even after 6 months. Everything was fine until the woman in 7C noticed them. "Excuse me," the woman said loudly. "Is there a problem?" Rachel turned. "I'm sorry?" "You're being very familiar with that man. Is he bothering you?" Rachel blinked. "No, he's my boyfriend." The woman's face twisted. "Your boyfriend?" "Yes." "I see. Well, that explains a lot." Sam's jaw tightened. Rachel saw it. The moment he shut down, the walls going up. "Ma'am," Rachel said carefully, "is there something you need?" "I need to not watch this display. It's disgusting. You should be ashamed." Other passengers were watching now, too. Some looked uncomfortable, some looked away. One older man nodded in agreement with the woman. Rachel felt something snap inside her. She'd been quiet for 6 months, taken the harassment, deleted the comments, avoided confrontation. Not anymore. "You know what's disgusting?" Rachel said, her voice loud enough for the entire business class section to hear. "The fact that you think you have the right to comment on my relationship. The fact that you look at this brilliant, kind, accomplished man and all you see is his skin color. The fact that you think your comfort matters more than basic human decency." The woman's mouth fell open. Rachel kept going. "This is a doctor, a cardiologist. He's saved hundreds of lives. He's published research that helps people all over the world. He's more accomplished, more educated, and more valuable to society than you'll ever be. And yes, he's my boyfriend, and I love him. And if that offends you, then you can take your bigotry and—" "Rachel," Sam said quietly. He stood, put a hand on her arm. "It's okay." "It's not okay." "I know, but you'll lose your job." I don't care. I do. He looked at her with so much tenderness, it made her chest ache. I've had this fight 1,000 times. I don't need you to lose everything to fight it for me. Someone has to fight, Rachel said, tears streaming down her face. You already do, every day, just by standing beside me. The cabin was silent, every passenger staring. Sam turned to address them all. I'm sorry if my presence makes any of you uncomfortable, but I paid for this seat. I'm not breaking any laws, and the woman standing next to me has every right to love whoever she wants. If that's a problem for you, I suggest you examine why that is. He sat back down, opened his journal, dismissed them all. The woman in 7C didn't say another word for the entire flight. But 3 other passengers stopped Rachel before landing. Thank you, one said, for what you said. My daughter is in an interracial relationship. She faces this every day. It helps to see people like you stand up. Rachel nodded, couldn't speak. When they landed in LA, Sam waited for Rachel at the gate. You're going to be in trouble, he said. Probably. Was it worth it? Rachel took his hand in front of everyone in the terminal. Oh,